In my previous video, I spoke about Africa's absence and exclusion from global sports like tennis, from world conversations, and from spaces that describe themselves as the world. Today, I want to go deeper because the real issue is not access and absence. The real issue is definition. When we see rankings such as world's best countries, world's most thriving economies, world's most creative and innovative people, world's happiest people, we must ask a simple question. Who defines the world? Global rankings present themselves as objective, as scientific, as neutral, but they are not. Every ranking is built on metrics, on values, on priorities, and assumptions. And these priorities reflect the worldview of the people who define them. If innovation is measured mainly by patents registered in the global north, in the west, if economic strength is measured majorly by GDP and not extractive histories and colonial histories, if education quality is measured by systems inaccessible to most people in the global south, then Africa will always appear behind. Not because Africa is incapable, but because Africa is being measured against standards it did not design. And this creates a dangerous illusion. Africa spends a lot of energy and resources trying to climb the global ranking instead of questioning the logic of the ladder. And so relevance for me does not always translate into ranking. Africa feeds the world. Africa supplies critical minerals for global technology, and Africa absorbs global climate shocks. Yet Africa remains low ranked. This tells me something very crucial. Power is not by contribution alone. Power is by definition as well. Institutions like the IMF, the World Bank, global credit bodies, international ranking bodies were created at a time when Africa was colonized or was politically weak. So Africa entered the global system not as a co-author, but as a subject. And subjects, we all know, do not define the rules. You see that? So when Africa depends solely on external validations, it weakens its internal confidence. So universities begin to teach for ranking and not relevance. Government pursue policies for global applause and not local impact. Innovation becomes imitation. This is not reform, this is dependency. Africa needs to stop asking, how do we rank higher? And start asking what matters for the future and the sustainability and the pride and development of Africa together. And so African reform must operate on two major standards and two major levels. First, the internal standards. Africa needs its own benchmarks. Education systems driven by its own realities, research agenda driven by African problems. Measures of progress that value social stability, creativity, and resilience. Secondly, strategic engagement. Africa must not exit the global systems, but it must engage it intelligently. Speak with a unified continental voice, negotiate standards and not just comply with them. Invest in institutions that produce knowledge, data, and narratives. Respect follows structures, and structure follows unity. So Africa does not need to reject the world. Africa needs to redefine its place in it. Global ranking should not define Africa's worth. Africa's performance, measured by its own priorities, should. When Africa reforms education, governance, and continental cooperation, visibility will follow. Not as charity, not as inclusion, but as inevitability. And so the question remains, who defines the world? Those who design the systems, those who set the standards, and those who control the narratives. Africa's task is not to beg for recognition, but to build systems and structures so strong that recognition and respect becomes unavoidable. Africa must get it right. We will get it right. Thank you.